Hello and welcome back to Louisiana Wrestling Now. It's been a couple of weeks, guys. My name is Robbie Dauterive. I am the former head wrestling coach at Brother Martin High School. I'm joined tonight by my co-host, Chad Ravannack of Rummel, Stillwater, and Oklahoma State. How's it going, Chad?
Good. Just, excited, plugging away. We got the season underway. A lot of teams are traveling and excited to cover it and kind of look forward to what we got going on coming up.
Yeah, man, and we got to introduce a guy who's just whipping out state championships, Ben DiPalma, athletic director at Catholic High. And as we talked about earlier, Ben, you took over in 2021. You won 10 state championships in your first 3 years as athletic director. Man, what kind of feeling is it to go into school on a Monday after a football state championship?
It's great. I mean, the culture of the school is sky high, and we're all a little tired. It was a long week of logistics, and it was a long weekend in New Orleans. But ultimately, everybody was just riding high. We had a great student section. I mean, most of our students were there. Most of our faculty were there. So everybody was just happy and excited. And I think it just carries it's a good way to end the first semester.
Yeah, man. And look, this is a Catholic High team that had 3 losses on the field, 2 in the record books at the end of the season. But, man, just goes to show you when you prepare, and I think when you've been there before, and the fact that your team's been there in the past, what do you think that did for them going into this playoff?
It did a lot. I think, the coach's message was pretty consistent all year long about just believe in the process and understand that we're going to get better as the season goes along. We replaced 4 offensive linemen from last year's team. And I think it took a little while for those guys to gel. We were really young on defense this year and had a brand new defensive coordinator. So, I think Coach Fuller, our head coach, could see the potential there. And in the beginning of the year, it just took a little while for those guys to kind of gel together. And some of them didn't really believe in what we were trying to do. And then, we started kind of rough in the non-district, and our non-district schedule was really tough. And we lost some close games to some really, really good teams. But ultimately, we ended up rolling off 8 straight wins, and the guys just believed, and I think they were playing their best football at the end of the year, which is what in any sport you want to be playing your best at the very end. So hats off to those coaches and those kids for just sticking with it.
Yeah, man, and look, Catholic High now gets the football players back, and this was always a day I had marked on my calendar. As a coach, you want your team, you want your football team, the guys you work with every day, to go as far as possible. But also as a coach, man, you're waiting to get your football players back because you really don't become a true team until that room is filled with all of your athletes. So I know for a lot of coaches around the state, players have been trickling in the last couple of weeks. Now that football wraps up, we go into exam schedule for a lot of our wrestling athletes. And, that takes center stage. So really, I look forward to that exam season ending. And, man, then coming into those Christmas tournaments, a lot of teams in the state of Louisiana will be traveling this coming weekend and doing the Christmas break. And then we come back, and, man, today it's 52 days to state. 52 days. You wrestlers out there who've been waiting maybe to do that little something extra, it's time to do that extra. So, Chad, as an athlete who competed, man, what was your mindset coming out of those midterm exams heading into that Christmas time wrestling?
Well, kind of like we discussed last time, a lot of that time is going to be a lot of discipline. You're going to be at home with your family. Everyone out there is going to be eating, having a good time. And it's imperative to all these young athletes, boys and girls, that they focus on their diet and keeping up their training regimen. It's easy to take some time off, but as Coach Robbie said, there's only 52 days. That window of doing anything extra and it actually showing itself in the season, that window is closing. So from this moment on, especially, I would say focus on school. But after school, you're starting to work out before class, before school, and, getting those extra workouts in every day and as much as you can, because that 52-day window is closing, and it's going to be closing a lot sooner once we get back into the mix of things.
Yeah, let's face it, guys. For wrestlers, that best time of year is coming up. It's December going into January, getting ready for a state tournament. Our state tournament's been affected this year by Mardi Gras, so it's extremely early. I know Alaska had their state championships this past weekend. They were the first to go off. I would think we'll probably be tied with a couple of other states as the next state championship to go off. But athletes out there, man, this is when it's time to really ramp up that training, get more discipline, and get ready for that next season, which is going to be, the second half of this season. So on tonight's show, we're going to bring in St. Paul's coach, Matt Pinero. We're going to talk about his team's performance in the dual meet against Catholic High a couple of weeks ago and his team's performance at the Border War. It'll also give us a good opportunity to talk about wrestling on the North Shore. After Matt's on in our third segment, we're going to preview Wednesday night dual meet, which is going to be held at Rummel High School. And it's going to feature two really surprising teams. Chalmette High, who's off to an 8-2 start, and Rummel, who's off to an 11-2 start. Should be a very competitive dual meet on Wednesday night. We're looking forward to Chad's homecoming at Rummel. I don't know if they have something planned for you, Chad, but we'll get working on that and see what's in the works. And then in segment 4 tonight, we're bringing in 3 absolute stud wrestlers: Tyson Roach, Alex Rosas, and Richie Clementi. And, man, we're going to talk to these guys about what got them to the level they're at this year. Right now, they're sporting a 71-0 record between the 3 of them heading into Christmas time in Louisiana wrestling. So after this commercial break, we'll be back with Coach Matt Pinero.
When you have suffered a personal injury or endured the wrongful death of a loved one, your focus should be on healing. But with medical bills piling up and insurance companies offering less than you expected, you're bound to feel overwhelmed. Since 1994, the law office of Stephen J. Rando, LLC has used experience to work towards helping his clients obtain the full and fair compensation they deserve so that they can move forward. Contact him for a free consultation. Located at 3530 Canal Street in New Orleans on the historic streetcar line. Call 504-486-7122 to schedule an appointment. Recognizing that each patient's goal is unique, plastic surgeon Dr. Michael Henneman offers creative solutions for his patients, utilizing the latest technology and procedures to achieve desired results. When you arrive at our Baton Rouge office for your consultation, you will find impeccable service in a comfortable, relaxed environment. Improving patient appearance, self-image, and confidence are our measures of success and satisfaction, and your privacy and confidentiality are always held in the highest regard. Take your training to a whole new level at HotWorks, the world's first 24-hour infrared fitness studio. Get 24/7 access to virtually instructed infrared sauna workouts with 3D training combining heat, infrared energy, and exercise, giving you increased calorie burn, muscle recovery, detoxification, and more. Choose up to 11 different workouts like hot yoga, hot Pilates, and hot cycle. Get more workout in less time. HotWorks, come earn the burn today.
Welcome back to Louisiana Wrestling Now. This is Robbie Dauterive, joined by St. Paul's head coach, Matt Pinero. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, look, we covered your dual meet a couple of weeks ago, and, I just can't get over the fact that it's just such a great facility for wrestling. The whole time, Chad and I kept looking at each other saying, man, this is what it's supposed to be like. You've got the varsity on one mat, the JV on the other mat. The gym seemed to fill up as the night went on. And, man, to have your own gym to do it, what's that like?
Well, we're blessed. I mean, we're very fortunate at St. Paul's to have excellent facilities for everything, not just for sports. But with wrestling, that gym that we were in, that was actually built by the brothers and the students back in the 50s. I don't think we could get away with bringing the students to build a facility nowadays, but it's an awesome facility. It's got a lot of history to it. when they built the new gym, they said, hey, by the way, we're going to give you the old gym. And gosh, they couldn't have been a better situation. We love it because, you can practice in there, you can leave the mats down, and then you can roll the bleachers out and fill it up. And like you said, that's really the thing is being able to fill that environment up. We think kind of like at Penn State, right? So Penn State has their big arena, the Bryce Jordan Center, that fits like 16,000 people, but they host most of their duels in Rec Hall, which only fits about 4,000. And that thing fills up all the time. We pretty regularly are able to fill up our gym for dual meets. So it's a special environment.
Yeah, Matt, I think the hardest thing for a coach is to replicate that match atmosphere in practice so that when you guys get out there in the match, they're just focused on their same routine. For you guys, it seems like that might be an advantage, having that practice area that transitions right into a competition zone.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, when you compete, it's all about comfort level, right? So if you are competing on the mat that you compete on every single day, in the gym that you compete in every single day, that takes away another variable, and it's one less thing that you have to worry about.
Well, Matt, you guys have been quite successful there. 2020 state runner-ups, and then St. Paul's first Division I state championship in 2021. When we went over for the dual meet a couple of weeks ago, you told me you had a young, inexperienced team. But, man, we saw some really good things that night in the 41-17 victory over Catholic. What really stood out for you in that dual meet that kind of turned the tide in your favor?
I thought the effort was good overall. We had a couple matches that probably got away from us early. But really, it was kind of getting close. And then our senior, Conlon went out there and kind of put on a dominating performance, got the pin. And that kind of got the ball rolling on the second half of things and opened it up. And, we beat some pretty good guys in the second half of that dual meet pretty solidly. So that was a good turning point, I think, in that match.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Conlon came out and really set the tone for you guys. I have to bring up his little brother again because, that 106-pound match, I love that. You had a kid, I think you 106 missed weight, correct?
So he didn't weigh in.
Didn't weigh in, okay. Didn't weigh in. Yeah.
So we had a late situation where we had to plug in Caleb, Conlon's brother, and probably about an hour before I said, hey, man, I need you to suit up. And he jumped right in, all 88 pounds of him. We love the effort he brings every week. We love the effort that he gives in his matches. He's a little light in the butt, but once that catches up, we know he's going to be a tough guy to beat, just like his brother.
Well, I know one thing. If he's at St. Paul's, he's going to catch up because St. Paul's has done just an outstanding job developing kids in the weight room with your weight and conditioning program. Man, specific, what are you guys doing that sets your guys apart in that weight room?
I don't know if it's anything that we do very much differently. We just work hard. We do a lot of kind of CrossFit type things. We do a lot of body strength type things. So I don't know that we're doing anything that other people aren't doing. I just think that we train hard.
Yeah, and it definitely shows. You guys look well conditioned and in shape. So you guys defeat Catholic and you go off to the Border Wars, where it looks like Jesuit with 330 points, St. Paul's with 301, and Holy Cross finishing in fourth place with 233. It looks like it was dominated by the Louisiana teams. Were you happy with the competition you got there?
Yeah, I think it's good competition. It's a nice mix of experienced guys and inexperienced guys. I did joke with the other coaches a couple times saying, hey, man, are you guys enjoying the tri-meet? Kind of what it came down to in the semifinals and the finals in the placement matches were our guys against one another. But that's okay. I mean, that's, if you're winning matches, eventually that's going to happen. And those are both great programs, and they had guys winning matches just like we did. So, that's an inevitability.
Yeah, you guys finished with 2 champions. Your 106-pounder came back to finish first, and Conlon Inc. once again led you guys. I see you placed in 12 weight classes. So overall, coming back now, what are you guys preparing for now, and what's your next big match?
Yeah, so right now our big thing is getting healthy. We felt pretty good about our performance in Florida, but we're pretty banged up in a couple spots. So trying to get healthy there. Our next competition will be the Dale Kettleson tournament in the end of next week. And so we're just focusing in on that, getting ready for that. We have exams starting in 2 days. So usually we try not to compete when we have exams going on. And this year it falls a little weird where exams are Wednesday through the next Tuesday. So no competition there. And then, we'll be ready to go for that home tournament with everybody back on the mat, hopefully.
Yeah, are y'all struggling maybe with the shortened season this year and really wanting to get the quality matches in, or do you think you have something pretty good and you're happy with it?
I'm pretty happy with where we are. Historically, since I took over, we've been pretty light in November and start getting a little bit heavier in December and January. So that's really hasn't changed that much for us. It's a long season. And I think the days of guys wrestling 60, 70 matches is kind of going away. For every time you do that, you have to make weight and you have to go through the process. And, it's just, they can drain a guy. And sometimes you do that and you go to a tournament and you wrestle 4 matches and, maybe one of the matches lasts longer than a minute and a half. And so instead of doing that, if you can find 2 teams to do a tri-meet and you come in and you get 2 quality matches, it's probably a little bit more bang for your buck. At least that's the way we see it.
Yeah. Okay. And look, I know you and Chad have been instrumental in Kids Club and USA Wrestling. So I'm going to let Chad ask you a couple of questions about your kids program and about the USA schedule this year.
So Coach, so how many kids do you have in your program right now?
So I would say we're probably about in the 50s as of right now. We've had more before, we've had fewer before. So we're kind of right in the middle of where we have been historically.
I've only heard absolute best things about Grant, how he's doing just such a phenomenal job with the kids. The kids just are absolutely loving it. From what I've been told, I sent a couple of my buddies over to you, and the kids are actually wanting to get on the mat more nights than what you guys are practicing. So you guys are doing an extremely well job there. What are some other coaches that you have that are working with kids?
Yeah, so you mentioned Coach Grant Hughes, a guy who wrestled for me at St. Paul's, graduated in 2018. We were able to suck him back in, and he's on staff now at St. Paul's, which is great. Coach Billy Harrison, another guy who wrestled for me, graduated from St. Paul's, high quality wrestler, tons of technical knowledge. A guy, Shane Ulfers, state champ for me at St. Paul's. He's helping out now. We've got a number of dads that come in and help. And so we've been very fortunate to be able to convince some of these alumni guys to get back involved. And it makes such a difference. It really does.
And so being that we're talking about USA Wrestling, are you really pushing your kids to kind of focus in on that freestyle and folk style season? I know some schools or programs kind of don't wrestle further into the summer, if you will. Or is that something you guys are really pushing?
Yeah, I think it depends on the kid. I think there's some guys that maybe need some time to rest and recover and maybe not just physically, but mentally. So maybe you take a little bit of time to be down and to recover and relax. And then I think there are other guys that need to keep pushing and they need more work and they need more mat time. So you encourage them to do that. So I think it's kind of a case-by-case basis for us. That's kind of been our philosophy on things, because while I'm a huge fan of freestyle and Greco, I mean, shoot, I coached at Fargo. I think I did the math a couple years ago. I think I spent like over 6 months of my life in Fargo. If you do the math about the 14 years that I went and the 14 days there. So I mean, I can't, I love Fargo, but I think there are kids that's really, really good for. And I think there's kids that, they benefit more from maybe taking a break and getting refreshed and refocused for the next school year. So we kind of just take it on an individual basis.
Yeah, and Matt, I wanted to ask you about just the North Shore programs in general. What are you seeing from your competition this year? And is there any program that's really standing out?
Well, I think the North Shore has improved tremendously, at least since when I first came over here a decade ago. Coach Woolley does a tremendous job over at Fontainebleau. He always gets the most out of his guys. Last year they had 2 champs, and that's never happened before. So, that speaks a lot to him and the things that he does. Coach Fauché over at Hannon always does a great job with limited resources. He gets the most out of his guys as well. Coach Shank has been a guy who's been around for a long time and has done a lot of great things at Covington. At Mandeville, got a new coach, but he's working really hard to get things together over there. Coach Kettleson starting up a program at Christ Episcopal. That's great. We need more programs. North Shore had a couple guys last year. I know they have some guys this year. Pearl River it has some guys that are competitive in Division II and doing really well. So, we've seen improvement. We've seen growth. At least I have, and that's a great thing. Iron sharpens iron. If we have tough teams over here, it's only going to make us tougher.
Yeah, I agree. And look, big dual meet tournament coming up. The Dale Kettleson dual meet tournament, December 23rd, correct?
22nd, 23rd, yeah.
22nd, 23rd, we'll be there. Ben and Chad are going to be there for the finals. How many teams do you have coming in? And is it is it pools and then a bracket? How's the tournament going to work?
Yeah, so we've got 12 teams. It's going to be pools on day 1 and then bracket on day 2 and going all the way to the finals and the placement rounds. We're feeling really good about the field. We've got a lot of quality teams that are committed to coming. Holy Cross, East Ascension, Jesuit, Catholic, Chalmette. Those are some of the top teams right now. So we're excited about having those guys. We've got some young teams, Kenner Discovery, coming out this way. Destrehan, Hornville. So we're excited about the field.
Well, look, Coach, thanks a lot for taking some time tonight to join us. Good luck with your team and exams this week and coming back to compete. And we'll be back after this commercial break.
When you have suffered a personal injury or endured the wrongful death of a loved one, your focus should be on healing. But with medical bills piling up and insurance companies offering less than you expected, you're bound to feel overwhelmed. Since 1994, the law office of Stephen J. Rando, LLC has used experience to work towards helping his clients obtain the full and fair compensation they deserve so that they can move forward. Contact him for a free consultation. Located at 3530 Canal Street in New Orleans on the historic streetcar line. Call 504-486-7122 to schedule an appointment. Recognizing that each patient's goal is unique, plastic surgeon Dr. Michael Henneman offers creative solutions for his patients, utilizing the latest technology and procedures to achieve desired results. When you arrive at our Baton Rouge office for your consultation, you will find impeccable service in a comfortable, relaxed environment. Improving patient appearance, self-image, and confidence are our measures of success and satisfaction, and your privacy and confidentiality are always held in the highest regard. Take your training to a whole new level at HotWorks, the world's first 24-hour infrared fitness studio. Get 24/7 access to virtually instructed infrared sauna workouts with 3D training combining heat, infrared energy, and exercise, giving you increased calorie burn, muscle recovery, detoxification, and more. Choose up to 11 different workouts like hot yoga, hot Pilates, and hot cycle. Get more workout in less time. HotWorks, come earn the burn today.
Welcome back to Louisiana Wrestling Now. This is Robbie Dauterive. We wanted to take a minute to thank our sponsors, Steve Rando, Nick DiGirolamo, Dr. Michael Hanneman, and Hotworks. And if you're enjoying the show out there, our weekly shows are free to the public on Varsity Sports Now. But if you'd like to subscribe, we've got a very busy schedule coming up, starting with Rummel versus Chalmette tomorrow night from the Raider Gym. A subscription is $11.99 a month or $100 for the entire year. And I know this. I sat around and watched Louisiana high school football playoffs at my fingertips. Some great football and great coverage by VSN. So please support VSN and Louisiana Wrestling Now. And that leads me into our coverage for our dual meet tomorrow night. Our special guests tonight are going to be head Rummel wrestling coach Rod Cusach and head Chalmette wrestling coach Chris McNamara. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, look, both of you guys are off to great starts this year. Rod, in his 12th year at Rummel, has the Raiders with an 11-2 record. Chris, in his 9th year at Chalmette, has his team to an 8-2 record with some really big wins. A win over Catholic High, Shaw, Zachary, and Live Oak. I talked to both of you guys a little while ago, man. It seems like numbers are up. We expect full lineups tomorrow night in the dual meet. And, man, we're really excited to cover this. Rod, I'll start off with you. You're coming off a tournament in Florida this past weekend where you had 4 champions. How do you see your team kind of gelling together as you enter Wednesday night's dual meet?
I see them just growing throughout the season so far. We've had a couple of kids avenge losses. To them mentally, they know they're getting better, and so look, it's not what happens at the beginning of the season. It's a journey. It's what happens at the end of the season. So, I'm happy at the progress we're making.
Yeah, look, you're 4 champions this weekend: Liam Ritchie, Caden Trish, Cameron Gandolfi, and Jake Brandsettler. Everybody here has heard Caden Trish before. He was in a couple of our top 10s. He was right outside on one of our top 10s. He's been like a steady guy in your lineup. What does he do in the practice room that elevates his teammates?
He doesn't stop. He's a great leader. He's first on the mat, last off the mat. Wants to get in there every chance he can. We have to pull him out the room to make sure he doesn't overdo it himself. And he stays on all the guys in the room. He's constantly, positive. He's just really positive with all the guys, knowing that they can do better. And, his work ethic is like none I've seen.
All right. And Chris, you've got a couple of guys. You got Muhammad Gabber at 144, Leland Webb at 157. And we were talking earlier, your 106 has put together, Hassan Kala has put together a really outstanding year so far. Are those 3 guys pretty much the rock of your team?
Yeah. Hassan's been my captain for now. This is his 2nd, going on 3rd year as my team captain. And Leland stepped up and they handle practice. They handle the kids. They do everything. All of the kids look up to them and they follow their lead. And Hassan's been a great surprise. He stepped up this year and has won a bunch of big matches for us. And even the losses that he had, he's come back and avenged those as well. And then I got a couple of the kids like Cole Caruso at 50. Like I have a couple of kids who have really stepped up hard this year and done a great job for us. But Leland and Mo are definitely my leaders.
Yeah, and Mo was a state placer 2 years ago. I think he lost in the blood round last year. He's in a very tough weight class at 144, and he's had some really competitive matches. I watched him wrestle Gross at Dutchtown a couple of weeks ago. What do you have to get Mo to really turn that corner? What does he need to do?
He needs to stay on the offense. When he's aggressive and he's getting after guys, he's hard to handle on the mat. Every once in a while he starts to play the defensive game, and that's not really his style. So in the room, we're just constantly on him about being the aggressor, taking his offense to him, and setting the pace to the match. And when he does that, there's a whole lot of potential to what he's got.
And Coach, as we discussed earlier, you have about 80 wrestlers on the team, including 13 girls. I asked you who your head girls coach was, and I kind of figured it's you. So, man, how does it feel? How is it playing double duty? You got guys and girls in the same room. How is that dynamic working for your team?
It runs pretty smooth. Just like the girls are in there, just like they're part of the team. They're not anything different. They practice on their side with themselves, but when they have a question, the boys will go over there, and they have zero problems getting on the mat with the boys, and the boys demonstrating for them. And when they need somebody to drill with, if there's a boy that needs somebody, they'll grab them and they'll start wrestling with those. So they're just another member of the team to the boys in the room.
That's great. And Coach Cusach, for you, I know you and I were talking about the football players that just came out. Talk about the depth you have in your upper weights now if these guys continue to stick with it.
Today we had 11 heavyweights out on the team. Before football, we had 0. So I've never – I really don't even know how to handle it. We've never had that many heavyweights. We've had 2, maybe 3 at the most. So I'm excited, with the addition of Timmy Falter helping out and coaching football. I think he's a reason why a bunch of these kids have come out. And I'm excited to see what he can do with them because in the past I've wrestled with heavyweights and I've tried to coach them, but I'm not a heavyweight myself. I can only push them so much and give them I can't give them a feel like a heavyweight can. So
and look, Rob, we talked about the dual meet on Wednesday night. Looks like both teams will be at full strength. What kind of crowd are you expecting at Rummel? And what's your team's goal in the dual meet? What are you looking to accomplish? We know you want to go out there and win, but what are you really looking for from your team as far as improvement goes?
I just want them to go out there and wrestle 6 minutes hard. If we get a pin, we get a pin, but that's, my goal is, to prepare for the state tournament at the end of the year. And I just want them to come out there and fight, win or lose, doesn't matter. As long as they give me 100% effort, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, look, you guys have 6 returning place finishers from last year's team. You've got a returning state champ. What's your team's goal to be at the end of the year? We all want to be state champs, but what are you looking for from your team by the end of the season?
Just growth. We have some young kids that are stepping into the lineup. Dominic Durham, a 113-pounder. He's a freshman this year. He's wrestled for years now. So just seeing him grow throughout the year, as well as my 215, 190 heavyweight, watching them just get better, and see where we end up at the end of the year.
All right, and Chris, with your team, you're battling in Division I. What's your team's highest finish in the Division I state tournament?
The highest we've ever gotten is 11th place, and that was in 2018.
And based on what you've done so far this year, you should be a contender for top 8, top 5.
That's the team goal right now is top 8, and in top 5 is ideal.
All right, great. And look, Chad's going to be doing the dual meet with me on Wednesday night. Chad, do you have any questions for the coaches?
So Coach McNamara, who are you looking forward to and most in the state tournament? If you have one match that you're going to need to get a pin, who's that guy going to be for you?
The guy right now for me, my hammer is Leland Webb at 57. He's my guy. Mo does a great job at 44, but like we said earlier, that weight class is stacked. But Leland right now is in the top 3 or 4 at the weight class, and I got a feeling he's going to do a really good job at the state tournament and catch somebody.
And Rod, how about you? So I know you lost Liam Ritchie last year in an unfortunate appendicitis right before the state tournament. Man, it seems like he's on a tear. He is on a mission. He has nothing but expectations on being top of the podium for the Classic as well as the state tournament. Kind of, what are you doing with him? Maybe differently this year. I mean, he saw some success last year, but this year it just seems like it's on another level.
Yeah, well, over the summer, he, as soon as he could get back on the mat, he got back on the mat. He's been in the weight room. He got bigger. Last year he was eating to get to 106. Now he's actually cutting weight to get to 106. And he wrestled all summer, went to camps. He's focused on one thing and one thing only, and that's to be a state champion.
right, Ben, do you have anything for the coaches?
Yeah, Chris, I'm just wondering. So you said you had 80 kids on the team. How has your role in the last 9 years like really evolved? I mean, have you moved from being the guy on the mat to being now I'm more of the manager of the program?
Well, I'll be honest with you. From the start, I've been kind of the manager. My assistant coach, Marcos Faguza, is outstanding. He does a lot of this heavy lifting in the room. And I got Dejan Bibbs, one of my former wrestlers, back in there with me. So, yeah, so basically I'm managing everything right now and letting Marco and Dejan and those guys handle everything in the room.
And, Rod, what about you? I mean, you've been around the sport so long, and you've got some great assistants. I know you just talked about Timmy, which is a huge addition for y'all's program. We know about Kevon. Like, how do you view your role right now at 17 years in, and how do you handle the day-to-days in the practice room?
My goal, I really just want my coaches to focus on coaching. I take care of everything else, the recruiting, the fundraising, and then all they have to worry about is coaching. And then when we get in the room, I bounce around wherever I'm needed. If I'm needed with the heavyweights, I'm with them, middle weights, lower weights, whatever. Coach Kevon Powell, he's awesome with all the kids. I'm comfortable with him running practice, doing what he has to do. We all kind of share that role. But I take a lot of pressure off of them just so that they only have to focus on coaching and, nothing else.
You still get on the mat at all?
Yes, I do. I was wrestling Cameron Gandolfi earlier today for a couple of minutes, got a busted lip. All right, I had enough. I'm 47 years old. I only go until I see blood on me. Not from them. Not from them.
That's great, guys. And look, hopefully we have some kids out there might be attending college in the New Orleans area and want to stay involved in wrestling. I mean, that's literally how I got involved in wrestling. I was bartending, finishing up college, and a coach from a school came in and said, "Hey, I remember you. You want to come by and help out?" And I went by and helped out for a year. I went to Brother Martin the next year. The rest is history for me. But, man, we definitely need – not only do we need alumni out there to come back and be referees, but, man, you guys that are going to college right now, if you want a little part-time gig somewhere, go see some of these coaches in the area. Because with Chalmette with 80 and with Rummel or 50 or 60 kids, I'm sure they're always looking for good young bodies that can show their love for the sport and help these teams develop. And that's one advantage we always had at Brother Martin Catholic Jesuit is the fact that we had these big alumni bases. If we can help these other coaches create these big alumni or these alumni bases or just go help them out, I think the sport will grow in a big way. So, guys, we're looking forward to the match. It's going to be tomorrow night, Wednesday at 6 o'clock. First match. We'll be on the air at 5:45. Chad's return. Do we have anything planned to welcome Chad back? Do we give him his members-only jacket back, or should he wear his gold chain, Rod? What should he do? What should he dress as when he comes in?
It wouldn't be Chad if he didn't come dressed to impress.
All right, Chad, you heard that. Come dressed to impress. Bring the members-only jacket. We'll see you guys at Rommel at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. We'll take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
When you have suffered a personal injury or endured the wrongful death of a loved one, your focus should be on healing. But with medical bills piling up and insurance companies offering less than you expected, you're bound to feel overwhelmed. Since 1994, the law office of Stephen J. Rando, LLC has used experience to work towards helping his clients obtain the full and fair compensation they deserve so that they can move forward. Contact him for a free consultation. Located at 3530 Canal Street in New Orleans on the historic streetcar line. Call 504-486-7122 to schedule an appointment. Recognizing that each patient's goal is unique, plastic surgeon Dr. Michael Henneman offers creative solutions for his patients, utilizing the latest technology and procedures to achieve desired results. When you arrive at our Baton Rouge office for your consultation, you will find impeccable service in a comfortable, relaxed environment. Improving patient appearance, self-image, and confidence are our measures of success and satisfaction, and your privacy and confidentiality are always held in the highest regard. Take your training to a whole new level at HotWorks, the world's first 24-hour infrared fitness studio. Get 24/7 access to virtually instructed infrared sauna workouts with 3D training combining heat, infrared energy, and exercise, giving you increased calorie burn, muscle recovery, detoxification, and more. Choose up to 11 different workouts like hot yoga, hot Pilates, and hot cycle. Get more workout in less time. Hot Works. Come earn the burn today.
All right, welcome back to Louisiana Wrestling Now. I'm joined tonight by three of the most outstanding wrestlers in the state. They are, in the upper right-hand corner, from Sam Houston High School. He's a senior. He's got a 30-0 record this year. Welcome, Tyson Roach.
How are you?
I'm doing great, Tyson. So, man, tell me, big tournament this weekend. Where are you heading?
Delaware, over to Beast of the East.
All right, Beast of the East, which has been a legendary tournament, really, in the country. I think the Iron Man might have surpassed it in the last couple of years, but as far as East Coast wrestling, your bracket is going to be filled with New Jersey and Pennsylvania kids. Man, what are you looking most forward to?
I'm looking forward to those hard matches. You know, kids that are ranked, give it a better opportunity to get my name up there higher and possibly become out of that tournament ranked in the country.
Yeah, man, Tyson, look, you're an Arkansas Little Rock signee. I know you told me you were working on your ACT this past weekend to get that full academic ride along with wrestling. Man, it's got to be an exciting time for you. This year, I mean, it looks like you've run through the competition at 30-0. So I guess the Beast of the East is going to be your biggest test to date?
Yes, sir, most definitely. It's going to be a lot of good matches.
All right. And look, Tyson, we'll be back with you in a second. My next guest is going to be Brother Martin, two-time state champion, 100 wins in his first 2 years. He's added another 21 wins this year. Richie Clementi, who's just been outstanding in Louisiana since the time he put on his shoes. I mean, seriously, Richie, for you, man, you caught on to the sport right away, right?
Yes, sir.
You did, man. So what does it mean to you now? You know, I talked to you last year at the state tournament, and I told you, I mean, it's so great to see you mature from your freshman year to your sophomore year, but continue to roll through the competition. What does it mean for you to keep that streak going in Louisiana, your undefeated streak here in Louisiana?
Yeah, so everything that we do in Louisiana is kind of prepping us for the next level, college and the bigger tournaments like Fargo and those Iowa tournaments we go to on off season, and kind of fine tuning some things. Like this weekend, I hit a push tilt for the first time in my wrestling career. So, you know, we're just trying to work on some stuff right now, grow as a wrestler.
No, man, and look, I think that's awesome that you're hitting a move for the first time. The biggest thing I ask, because my mindset wrestlers that I work with all around the country, I ask them all the time, what move are you going to hit this weekend that you haven't really had the courage to hit yet, or just the opportunity? So for you to actually see that, I think that's great, man. So Cal Baptist, tell me about the recruiting process. You're now committed. How'd you come about choosing Cal Baptist?
It was kind of like when I got there, I just knew right away thing deep down. So I went to Indiana University, loved it out there. Same with Campbell, I loved it there, but it was just something special about the coaches, the environment in California that just felt like I could grow as a wrestler most there and a person as well. So that's kind of the reason I chose there. It's in Southern California. You can't really beat it. So,
and you know, dude, you've always reminded me of a California kid, and I know you live in Slidell, but really you've never spent any time in California, right?
only for mid-cows last year when we got robbed. So,
but you do give off that vibe. And when Richie says he got robbed, he's not making an excuse for wrestling. They really did get robbed. The thieves broke into the team cars, stole shoes, laptops, and other things like that. As far as the tournament goes, man, what did you learn being out there in California?
Yeah, so that was a big learning experience. I took my first 2 losses in high school being out there. I learned that winning and losing really isn't everything, and you're going to come across kids that are better than you. But as long as you can learn while losing, that's a big part of it. And that's the main thing I learned while out in California. So
awesome, man. And let me introduce our third guest now, and we can put everybody on screen. My third guest is only a one-time state champ because he's only a sophomore. He was 55-0 last year. I mean, he's a national 16U champion. He was a Virginia Beach 5th place All-American. He texts just about everybody he runs across. So, Alex, do you ever grab a kid in the hallway at school and tech him real quick?
No, sir.
So let me ask you this. I watched Richie when he first started in wrestling. I know he picked it up really quick. Question for you, Alex. How quick did you pick up wrestling? And when did you know that you really loved doing this?
I've been wrestling since I was 3 years old, so I kind of always did it. But I didn't really start picking it up till I was like 10 when we started traveling around. And I really didn't think I wanted to go to college to wrestle until like 2 years ago. I didn't really think I wanted to go to college to wrestle, but I love it, and I love traveling, and I think I do. I think I do really want to go to college.
All right, and where are you? And tell everyone, you're heading out west this weekend. What tournament are you going to?
I'm going up in Nevada to Reno to wrestle.
Very nice. And looking for some competition out there because so far in Louisiana, 21-0. Unfortunately, you did pin someone. You sounded like you were a little bummed about that. 20 technical falls and 1 pin. So why do you like to tech people?
I like working on my moves, and I like being able to like get my wind up so I'm not tired when I do get in a good match, a good long match with someone pretty good.
Is there a high school wrestler out there that you watch now? Because, man, with flow and with track, we're able to watch kids who are your peers, but you watch them wrestle. Is there a guy right now that stands out to you? You're like, I want to do what that kid's doing.
Marcus Blaze, he's really good. I like watching him wrestle. He's crazy. Yeah.
Now, let's explain to our audience what went on this past weekend. Okay, so this past weekend was the Ironman tournament at Jeswood Walsh High School. Spencer Lignasa from Jeswood went up and wrestled heavyweight in the tournament, finishing 7th. I fully expect him to improve on that at the Kansas City Stampede this weekend because I just think he needed to get some of those close matches, and he had a bunch of close matches. But the Ironman tournament is one of the toughest tournaments in the country. I had phone calls with all 3 of you guys yesterday, and, man, I was thrilled to hear that all 3 of you tuned in and watched the tournament. And that's the key to get better. Wrestlers out there from age 5 all the way through high school, if you want to have the success that these guys are having, man, tune into those tournaments. What stood out to you, Tyson, in that Ironman tournament?
Definitely Mason Gibson and Jordan Rainey's match. You know, they always push the pace the entire time. There was a situation after the first takedown of Gibson and stand up from Jordan where Jordan took a single leg or a high crouch, I believe, and they just scrambled until they went out of bounds and didn't stop moving.
Richie, what stood out to you from the Ironman?
Oh, the stinginess of some of those wrestlers. Like JJ McTop, however you say his last name, from
the Oklahoma kid.
Stillwater. He's just very stingy. And no, he didn't win the tournament, but his backside matches too. Backside wrestling is very important. So backside wrestling and stinginess were the 2 things that impressed me the most.
Yeah, you know, for you 3 guys, what really stands out to me is the fact that you compete year round. And you're constantly going out trying to find the best competition. Alex, man, what's the feeling like when you walk into a Virginia Beach and you've got all these kids warming up and it's high level. What motivates you when you get there?
I like it. I like all the pressure. And I think that it's awesome to be able to wrestle the best kids in the country. And I just can't wait to wrestle them. I like having them close matches.
Yeah, Richie, you know, and you guys might not know this, or you don't know it at all, but I watch all of your matches. Okay, I watch the matches all summer. And Richie, it was the finals match where your opponent's father was a poor sport. But after the match, you tried to be a good sport there. Man, can we get a match with that kid again? And kind of what went on in that match, man?
Yeah, so he wins all those Reno and Tulsa tournaments. And so going to it, me and my dad were just like, let's let this one fly, go have fun. And that's what I did. I had fun in that match. Got a little heated at the end, but after that happened, he tried to square up to my dad and tried to fly him out to Sacramento to get a fight in. And my dad was just like, I promise you don't want that.
Look, I love the way you handled yourself in that match, man. I really do. So Tyson, dude, talk to the kids out there that are watching. You know, you've been a Fargo All-American. Man, what's it like to go through the meat grinder of Fargo and actually step on that podium as an All-American?
I mean, honestly, I guess you could call it somewhat of miserable. You know, it's not very easy. I mean, you're up there for 10 days, you know, 10 days of just hard wrestling, just everyone around you is doing the same thing. You know, nothing's different. You know, you walk into the cafeteria to grab some food and the kid right next to you is running in sweats because he's trying to cut weight. You know, everyone over there is living it and breathing it. And to stay there all 10 days and compete with the best in the country and, you know, come out at the end being on that podium is a very big blessing and, you know, hard work that's paid off.
And look, guys, moving forward in this season now, you know, I talked to the coaches earlier about this. It's a short season this year. You know, state's February 4th and 5th. You guys have 52 days until the state tournament. So a couple of you guys are traveling this weekend. Richie, you guys are going to the Prep Slam in a couple of weeks, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, and that'll be a test out there. What about these tournaments during the season? And you definitely have always had a little advantage at Brother Martin because you do get to travel. What kind of makes the difference for you as far as getting you mentally ready by going out and wrestling these out-of-town teams?
Yeah, so the benefit that Brother Martin has is we get to travel. I mean, last year we went to Cali. My past we've been to Tennessee, Florida. I could keep naming them, but a good thing about that is you get the pressure off. You know, you don't have the pressure of, oh, I'm competing against Jesuit or, oh, I'm competing against Holy Cross like some of those kids have. You just go out there and let it fly. And for some reason, our best tournament competing-wise last year was in California as a team. And so I feel like I travel enough to kind of get that mental thing off of me. But some of those guys, that's good for them to travel out of the state, see some of those better guys that you're going to face maybe in the state finals. So that's a good prep for us, I feel like.
All right, great. And look, guys, I have to ask because it looks like, Alex, you said you were going to wrestle 113 this weekend. Tyson, looks like you're going to wrestle 120. So I'm going to ask you guys right now, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot. At the Louisiana Classic, where the weight class, you guys aren't bumping the heavyweight to wrestle Spencer, are you?
No.
No.
All right, definitely not. Definitely not. So what are you thinking for the Louisiana Classic, Tyson and Alex? Can we promote something here? What are your thoughts for that tournament?
I'm going 120 for that tournament.
I'll be at 120.
All right. Well, look, I know one thing. Ben DiPalma is ecstatic, and Chad Ravannack is, and so am I, because we have so much respect for you guys. And to see the best guys go out there and battle each other, man, that's exactly what we want. So one more, I gotta ask Alex and Tyson this. The Louisiana Classic, how important is it to you guys because of the fact that at state we're broken into 3 divisions? How important is the Classic to you, Tyson?
I feel like the Classic is, you know, the true state championship, because at state there's a lot of things that are broken up and different divisions. Like last year at state, I was at D2 and I was in a different bracket than Landon Rowe, and me and him went at it all season. And our main match was at the Louisiana Classic.
Well, I can tell you this. So you brought up Landon, man. Some of the best matches I've ever seen between you two guys. What did he do that really brought out the best in you?
His tilts. I couldn't find a way around him. And, you know, it'd take a lot of time in the mat room. I'd come back in the mat room, and my dad and Coach Dillon, they'd just be on my head all practice. Don't get tilt, you know, working here and there, you know, and there'd be times where I'm like, I'm going to beat the tilt this time. And, well, I didn't do that successfully.
Alex, how about you, man? What really brings it out for you?
I feel like Classic is one of the most important tournaments of the year. It's definitely one of the funnest tournaments of the year. You get to wrestle everyone. And, yeah, I just think that that's probably the best competition we're going to have as far as Louisiana for all year. So I'm excited for the tournament.
Yeah, look, I've been a proponent forever. It doesn't make me popular, but I've never tried to win a popularity contest. Pennsylvania is the toughest wrestling state in the country. They have 2 divisions. California has 1 division. How many divisions should Louisiana have at the state tournament, Tyson?
1.
Alex, 1.
1.
See, you guys out there listening, coaches, administrators, everybody, you heard it from 3 future Division I studs. Let's get 1 tournament, maybe 2 if we have to go 2, but let's get a qualifier, qualify for the tournament, and let's go out there and have our best competition. Hey, guys, man, you guys are all a credit to the programs you come from and your coaching staffs. Thank you so much. Good luck this weekend, and good luck in a couple of weeks at the Prep Slam, Richie. Guys, we'll be watching y'all. All right, guys, I got a little tongue-tied there when I was trying to say that all 3 of those guys are a credit to their programs, and they definitely are. Outstanding young man, and man, when is the last time Louisiana, really, if you count in Nicholas DiGirolamo, you count in Spencer Ignasa, and probably 2 or 3 others in the top 10, when's the last time that we had this much Division I potential?
I'm not sure we have.
Yeah. Chad?
I mean, there's been guys here and there, right? I mean, maybe 2 a year, 3 a year, but not. I mean, you rattled off 5 guys that could wrestle Division I, possibly 6. I mean, and you're looking at. I mean, Rosas is just a sophomore, so you look at that junior class. Is there 1 or 2 in that junior class? You have potentially maybe 8 guys right in the state somewhere right now that have the ability to go on to wrestle Division I, and that's a credit to the club program and the youth program that's been slowly building over the last 25 years. You know, the guys are coming out now. It was back in the day. It was you started as a freshman and you cracked the lineup maybe as a sophomore, and maybe you were a state contender as a senior. And now every year it seems like we have freshmen in the state finals.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing, and this is kind of what I alluded to in our top 10, you know, we have a lot of 2nd and 3rd generation wrestlers that are coming up. You know, for all practical purposes, you could say wrestling really started back, you know, in the 80s, the early 80s, late 70s. You know, my dad, I talked to him not too long ago about, you know, what did his state tournament look like? He's like, Chad, it was my parents and my opponent's parents in the stands. And that was it. The state finals consisted of the parents of the wrestlers. And now we're selling out gyms. We're having to figure out larger arenas. And I think that's just a testament to the love of the sport and us growing the sport organically at the grassroots level.
Yeah, and look, if we're going to grow the sport organically, or we're going to grow the sport, period, you know, the question that I asked our 3 wrestlers there, you know, we do need to find a way to make the state tournament an event where you have to qualify to get to. You know, there have been too many occasions when me as a coach had to pull a kid aside at the state tournament. And I'll use the name because I remember Jacob Clapp. Come here, son. Look at that kid you're about to wrestle. You have to be very gentle. Easily shuck him down, turn him to his back, and pin him, because he really doesn't belong in this tournament. And if you hurt him and we get DQ'd, the state tournament that you're going to go on to win tomorrow night might never happen. And it just shouldn't be like that at the state tournament. We're the only state in the country that doesn't have a qualifier. Every other sport in Louisiana, you have to qualify to get there. And until we do that, man, I think we still continue to take a little away from the state tournament. I was happy to see all three of those kids say, hey, I'll take one tournament. I'll risk being second or third, but I want to wrestle everybody. Ben, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I agree, and I've brought this point up before. I don't think we should be boxed in by the way things have always been done. I mean, I understand the argument from some of the smaller schools about being able to compete on the team level, and the idea I've always put up is one tournament with 3 separate team scores. You qualify and you get points for qualifying, and then you keep Division I, Division II, and Division III team scores separately. But your individual tournament is one bracket, 16 guys. And look, that's not a hard thing to do. The way the rules are written in the LHSAA, only wrestling schools vote for the wrestling bylaws. So all it takes is, somebody putting up a proposal that's going to say, look, we're going to go to one tournament, keep the team scores separate, and then the 90 to 100 wrestling schools in the state of Louisiana are the only ones that are going to vote for that. So you just politic it amongst your coaches and get the coaches to politic it amongst the principals, and it takes 18 months from the time the proposal is written until the time it goes into effect.
Yeah, Chad, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think with the addition of women's wrestling or girls wrestling coming in, I think a change is inevitable. And speaking with my contacts at LHSAA, as well as the coaches, as well as us, the old guys that are trying to grow the sport, we are all in agreement of that. We certainly want a qualifier. And if I had to bet, just shooting from the hip, it would probably be a 2-division state tournament. And then we would have the girls. So it would be a total of 3. But no, we're certainly looking at that. There's a lot of different things that we're trying to maybe change moving forward. It wouldn't be an overnight change, but we're always looking to improve and give the kids the best experience. And I think by going down divisions, the amount of divisions, we can have a little bit more showmanship. You can, call outs. There's a little bit more you could do, a lot more freedom because of the times. You're really at a time constraint right now.
Yeah, I agree. And let's talk about these young men that were on. They're all going to great tournaments in the next 2 weeks. Richie heading up to the Prep Slam. I had teams that we won 1 Prep Slam. We were second 3 times, 1 year to Wyoming Seminary, 1 year to Lake Highlands Prep. Just a really tough tournament. Teams from 11 states. So Richie will get a test there. But, man, Tyson's really stepping into the Lions den this weekend, heading to the Beast of the East. And, the Beast of the East has lost just a little bit of luster because the Iron Man has really become so big. But if you're looking for kids from the East Coast that will literally punch you in the face, the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York kids that go to the Beast of the East, they're ready to go. And Alex heading out to Reno to get a test out there, man. Those guys are going to only come back. This is scary for their opponents. They're going to only come back that much better. So if you're a kid in Louisiana, you haven't hit high school yet, but you want to be able to catch up with these guys, what are you doing in the off season?
The biggest thing that stuck out to me with all 3 of them, and Robbie, you coached a long time. I coached a long time. Technique is easy to teach, and getting them physically ready is an easy thing to do. The hardest part about high school athletics is getting a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old to get mentally prepared to compete on a high level. That is by far the hardest thing to do in high school athletics. And all 3 of those guys kind of said different things that are all meant the same thing. And what I found was they all said that they're not scared to lose, right? So Richie talked about how he enjoyed going out to California. He got his first 2 losses in high school and said, it was great. We flew around. I lost, but I learned a lot from it. Alex flat out said he's going to Reno because he likes pressure. He likes to go wrestle the best in the country, win or lose. He wants to be in that big moment. And then I thought Tyson's comment about Fargo was awesome. He asked about Fargo and he said it's miserable and it's awesome. He embraced the misery that is wrestling. Right? It's a brutal sport. And if you're going to compete on the level that those 3 guys are competing on, you're killing your body. You're watching your diet year round, and you're seeking out people that want to physically beat you up every single day. and to say like, yeah, I recognize it's miserable and I absolutely want to do it every day. I just found like that their mental process is why they have just separated themselves, right, with, DiGirolamo and Spencer from really the rest of the group. I mean, it's an amazing thing to see. And if you got a 7th or 8th grader watching this tonight, you can learn all the technique you want. You can get in the weight room. That's the easy part. Get to that mental state, and that's where you're going to find success.
Yeah, and look, there's another 10 to 15 kids out there that we didn't mention their names who I see are making the circuit. They're going through freestyle and Greco State. They're heading to Fargo. They're going to Super 32s. So there's more kids out there. We got about 25 to 30 kids right now who are really pushing those tournaments. And look, if you can't get to Virginia Beach, get the folk style nationals in Iowa. I mean, those are my top 2 folk style tournaments at the end of the year. If you want to hit the ultimate, Southeast Regionals. If you want to test yourself in freestyle and Greco, Southeast Regionals. Then if you go there and you think you've got a shot, then go spend the money and go to Fargo and get that valuable experience there. Chad, I know you're heavily involved in freestyle and Greco. What aspect of that gives these guys an advantage? And then talk about what our Louisiana entries are doing at Senior Nationals this weekend.
So one thing to kind of reiterate what Coach DiPalma had said is that, guys, if you want to get better competition, you got to get on a plane. You're going to have to get in your car. You're going to have to drive. Well, if you want to go to that next level, you're going to have to do the same thing. If you want to wrestle at NAIA, JUCO, if you want to go Division I, Division II, Division III, that's not here. You're going to have to travel and go find that competition just like to get to that next level. So that's imperative. And if it's not something that you financially do, look, start cutting grass, work towards it. And every grass lawn that you cut is something to where you're working towards getting better. We have some of the best wrestlers to come out of Louisiana coming up at Senior Nationals this year. We have Sam Jones, who is from the North Shore, and then Abby Nettie. They'll both be competing out in Dallas, Texas. I think we actually have some wrestlers going and some of our younger guys. I talked to Corey Saunier, and they're bringing a couple guys out there. But it's very exciting. I can't wait. It's a great tournament. And, again, putting that time in the summer is only going to translate to the wintertime.
Yeah, 100%. Great. Hey, from both of you guys, really appreciate the insight, man. I thought the kids on today did a great job. If you have questions for us moving forward, capital LA WrestlingNow@gmail.com. We did get a question a couple of weeks ago, and the question was, will we be previewing the Louisiana Classic? And the answer is, of course we will. Will we be picking winners? Of course we will, if that's what you guys want out there. Coach Prohaska called me today and asked me what we were covering. And, man, here's my plan for the Classic. We're going to do the semifinals just like we did last year on split screen. And then doing wrestlebacks. We're going to keep the camera on the wrestlebacks, but we're going to bring in some of the finalists, some of the coaches, some of the heroes from the past. Because plenty of alumni bump into that tournament, the Kevin Riches and the Babineaus, and you go on and on and on. But these guys come in, we'll get them on the air, and we'll just talk wrestling. That's what we want to do. We want to talk wrestling. So any questions for us? So I figure right now, maybe to generate a little interest in our Louisiana Wrestling Now at gmail.com, I'm going to ask our audience out there if they would just give us a quick opinion. Should Chad continue with this look here, or should we take Chad back a few years, maybe to the late 70s? Should Chad come back with the full curls and the mullet? Chad,
mullet.
Is that, would mullet. You like? Will your wife and your kids let you bring the mullet back?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. William, my wife, has been with me through the afro, cornrows, braids. We've been through it all. So, probably outside of marrying my wife, the mullet. Well, marrying my wife was the best decision I made. And then the second best decision was putting the blonde in the mullet. So, certainly.
Now, the big question for me is this, Chad. Is the hairline going to allow you to bring the throw back? Is it possible still?
So this is what's called the evolution of the mullet. So once you have a nice big flowing mullet, as it recedes back, it grows into a skullet. So you know, there's a lot of options, Robbie. There's a lot of options.
Well, look, man, wrestling season's on fire right now. You know, like we talked about. Let's get through this exam week. We've got all kinds of coverage coming up. Wednesday night, we'll be at the Rummel Gym to cover Rummel and Chalmette. Ben and Chad will bring you the finals of the Dale Kettleson. And then we've got a dual meet between Jesuit and Turlings at the end of the month. We're going to cover the Battle of New Orleans from Chalmette, the public school championships, and we got some big Catholic League duels in January, starting off with Brother Martin and Holy Cross. So a lot of action coming up. Louisiana Classic right around the corner, and we'll be working on our plan for the state tournament to bring you even bigger and better coverage than we did last year. So, guys, want to thank you guys. We want to thank our sponsors for everything. We want to thank our producer, Justin, Eric Ritchie, Juan, the whole gang at VSN. Everyone have a good night, and we'll see you on Wednesday.